Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. So today we're getting into something that, let's be real, a lot of us have been through: deception in relationships. We're going to break down all those little warning signs, the ones you need to see before it's way too late.
Okay, so you've been through a really tough breakup, right? And you've probably found yourself wondering, is love even real? Is the whole thing just a lie? That feeling of betrayal, it can make you question absolutely everything. But here's a thought. What if the problem isn't love at all? The source we're digging into today suggests something really powerful. The signs are always there. The real issue is that we just don't see them. So it's about flipping the script, right? Moving from being the victim to being the observer.
All right, so how do we actually do that? Let's take a look at the game plan. First, we're going to reframe the whole problem. Then, we'll dive deep into a deceiver's playbook. After that, I'll show you the ultimate test to reveal the truth, and we'll wrap up by talking about how to move forward with your eyes wide open.
Okay, first up, beyond the heartbreak. This whole section is about realizing that the power is actually in your hands. It's all about learning to spot the patterns so you can protect yourself. And you know where that power starts? It starts with trusting your gut. I mean, how many times have you felt that little nagging voice telling you something is off, that a story doesn't quite add up, but you pushed it down? Ignoring our own instincts, that's what sets us up for the biggest heartbreak down the line. And that leads us right into the heart of this whole thing, the deceiver's playbook. We're going to walk through 7 massive red flags that you absolutely cannot afford to ignore. Yeah, think of this list as your personal guide to spotting fakes. We're going to unpack every single one of these 7 signs, starting with the one that's the foundation for pretty much all deception: secrecy. Look, a real healthy relationship should feel transparent, like clear water. But a deceiver, they build walls, big ones. They're constantly controlling the flow of information, hiding huge chunks of their life, like their family, what they really do for work, their actual ambitions. If you always feel like you're on the outside looking in, that is a major warning sign. Okay, this next one is so important. It's the difference between someone who genuinely cares and someone who's just acting. When you're hurting, a deceiver might say something like, "Oh, you should have been more careful." It's hollow. But a true partner, they don't just give you advice, they actually feel your pain right along with you. All right, sign number 3 is all about consistency. Here's the thing. The truth is easy because it's just the truth. Lies are complicated. You have to remember what you said to who and when. A deceiver's story is always shifting because they literally can't keep track of their own fabrications. If you feel like you're a detective trying to piece together their timeline, it's probably because it isn't real. And then, of course, you have the bragging game. This is all about performance. Deceivers are masters at building this fake image of success. They'll exaggerate how much money they make, show off a car or a watch that isn't even theirs, or claim they have degrees or skills they totally don't. It's all just a show to create this impressive but totally empty persona. Now, this next pattern is all about them, 100%. Their affection is basically a light switch. When they need something from you, boom, the switch is on. They are the sweetest, most attentive partner you could ever imagine. But the second they get what they want, click, this switch flips off and suddenly you're treated like a stranger or just some casual acquaintance. A deceiver doesn't see your love as a gift. They see it as a guarantee. They're so sure you're not going anywhere that they just stop trying. And this can get ugly. It can even show up as them disrespecting you or putting you down in front of other people just to prove that they're the one in control. And the last sign on our list? Oh, it's a classic. The excuse that they're always too busy. I mean, as our source material puts it, they're busier than the prime minister. It's amazing, isn't it? They have time for literally everyone and everything else except for you. That tells you everything you need to know about where you stand. So what if you're listening to all this and a bunch of alarm bells are going off in your head? Well, our source gives us a really clear and pretty drastic way to get to the truth. Let's talk about the ultimate test. It's called the no contact test, and it's as simple as it is effective. For about 15 to 30 days, you just stop. You cut off all communication. No calls, no texts, no social media, nothing. You create total silence, and then you just sit back and watch what happens. And really, there are only 2 ways this can go. Someone who truly loves you will absolutely panic. They'll be worried sick. They'll do anything they can to find out if you're okay. But a deceiver, they'll be relieved. Your silence isn't a problem for them. It's a get-out-of-jail-free card. It gives them the perfect excuse to just replace you. Okay, so what do we do with all this? How do you take this knowledge and actually use it? That brings us to our final section, learning how to love with your eyes wide open. At the end of the day, it really all boils down to a choice. It's about choosing to see the reality of who's in front of you, not just the fantasy you wish were true.
A real, solid love can handle being examined. A performance? Not so much.
And this brings us to such a crucial final point. Taking the time to really observe and, investigate a potential partner isn't being cynical or negative. It is an act of profound self-respect. It's about understanding that your time, your feelings, your whole life, it's just too precious to waste on an illusion. And so I'll leave you with this final critical question to ask yourself. Are you truly loving a person, or are you just in love with the performance they're giving you? The answer to that, well, it could change everything.